Okay, so we're here with my VIP Ken. Ken just finished 6 months. We got down 46 pounds of body fat, and I just want to say publicly how proud I am of your effort and of your consistency. You just showed up every day, good, the bad, and the ugly. You just did the damn thing. It wasn't perfect, but here we are at the end, 46 pounds lighter. In case you guys were wondering, I think a toddler weighs like 30 or 40 pounds, right?
Yeah, when you think about it like that, like wow.
So I'm curious, man, if you could just share to people out there who might be considering doing something like you just did and really making this like transformation. Like what how did you think it was gonna go? Like, were there any hesitations? And then how did it end up being for you? And what were some of the big like takeaways you got from this experience?
Yeah, I mean, so I did this with my partner Alicia, and she kind of like spoke to me about it. And I'll admit I was like a little reticent when we started. I'm like, who could like do a fitness thing online or da 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 da, right? Because the thought process for me, I've always like fought my weight, and so I'm like, there's no way I could just figure this out on the internet. That's crazy. Like I've looked it up before. I've tried like all sorts of weird stuff. So I like started already like, But
Mhm,
then as we got going and the ball kind of got rolling, I could like see just
mhm,
like how this could actually work for like a lifetime of stuff. Because
totally.
I did, MyFitnessPal by myself, like way back when, but it was like, I'm just going to take this, do McDonald's, but just do less McDonald's. And before I knew it, I was just not eating food so I could eat more fast food later and eventually just gain all that weight back.
It's this vicious cycle, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, the information's available, right? I mean, really this is always my argument. People are hesitant about working with a coach online. It's like what, like, besides just like societal norms of like going into a facility and sitting across a desk from a nutritionist, like really if you think about like what is the biggest difference between sitting on a Zoom with a nutritionist versus sitting in across a desk from a nutritionist and having them hand you like PDFs. But really, even if you were to go see a nutritionist in person, they probably have some sort of like software or application that they'd want you to like log your data in anyways. And so when you think about it that way,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, yeah, that's the difference, right? um, so how was it then, like, the reality is like, hey, we're trying to lose weight, we have to be in a calorie deficit, right? Like that's, I think, the fundamental truth. So 6 months, man, of dieting and then rebuilding and then dieting again. Like, how was that experience for you of just like food choice and, dealing with vacations and going out to dinner, having family in town? Like, what were some of the discoveries you had, just like the consistency of your plan with the realities of like things coming into your life?
Yeah, I think so. Starting off with the program, you had us on like a lot more narrow sort of path to walk food wise. And
Mhm.
at first we were like, damn, like how do you do this? It's like not a lot of different things to choose from. But then the more you like look at that list, you're like, actually, this is pretty much all food
Yeah,
except for like
that's always the thing. It's like, oh no, it's just because it's compiled on a list, we feel restricted, but really it's like, well, like what other proteins besides chicken, beef, fish, turkey, pork are you eating? Like what eggs? Like what else are you eating? Do you want some like, like exotic like grouper off of the coast of Maine? Like go ahead, get it. It's cool too. Anyways, but yeah,
yeah.
so go ahead.
Well, because I have other friends that are trying to lose weight and they go like, man, okay, yeah. So what are you guys doing? No bread? Wait, no meat. You doing this? Like, no, we pretty much just eat everything. And now that you're saying this, I realize this list is not that narrow. We're just eating all of the normal stuff, but just going like leaner with it, right? So
Yeah.
it kind of just gets us into that mindset. So, midway through, maybe 2, 3 weeks in, we had that foodie festival that we did.
Yeah.
And then even with that, it's like we still kind of like exercise some control just because we had gotten like into a rhythm with it. And then by
Definitely.
the time we did vacation in February, we like go out to Hawaii. And normally, you go on vacation or we would go out at night and we would just go hard, like
Mhm.
switch the flip, party mode is on. We're going to run the entire week out. And it was only kind of like that, you know, like we had our moments where we're just going to chill by the pool and drink, but we did a lot of walking and like snorkeling and just, and when it came time for dinner, you know, our normal thing was like, okay, you get an appetizer, I get an appetizer, and then we'll both get our entrees. We're going to try everything. And instead it was like, yeah, I don't think we need to try all that stuff. We can just kind of, you know, let's
So
both split a meal and
yeah,
just be able to have the same amount of fun, but without just like feeling like weighed down by some poor choices, you know?
exactly. And like, what do you define as fun? I think we have like, that's one of the big questions of like, we have an identity, and the identity that we adopt has priorities that come along with it, right? And when we change our identity, we change our priorities. And so when you've changed your identity from being the person who puts fitness and nutrition first in their life, or at least ahead of a lot of things, then the priorities around your life change with it. And all of a sudden, eating just because you can doesn't, it's not really a thing anymore because it doesn't resonate with your identity. Like there's always gonna be that little voice in our head that like wants to just like, go off the rails, like the little demon that just like the little demon child in us that just wants to like, yeah, but I can't wait to like order a pizza and drink a bottle of wine. And then like after you've been healthy and eating clean and exercising for a while, you just realize like, like to what end? So I can wake up tomorrow 5 pounds heavier with water weight and puffy eyes and just a headache. It's like, is that really like what I want for myself? And I think that through this process of earning it, you therefore learn how to keep it. And you don't want to do that kind of stuff that's going to sabotage you, right?
For sure. I mean, it made it easier for me too to like kind of weigh out what I want to do. And like I remember when we started, I told a friend like, I don't really want to like sit down and drink wine with you unless I can like drink wine with you. And she was like, oh, that sounds like some alcoholic. I'm like, no, 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 no. You misunderstood. If I sit down for a glass of wine, we're talking like 180 calories. What am I going to do like with one glass of wine? I can go over there and have this much of this food here, or I
Yeah.
could sip this glass of wine. And when it was cheap wine, it made it even easier. Like, hey man, it's open bars. Like, yeah, but it's $5 wine.
Yeah.
$5. Like, no, man, I'm good.
Yeah. Well,
I think I could miss
you
that.
pay for it later though.
Oh, for sure.
You pay for it. And that brings up a good point, right? Because it's like you weren't like an ultra boy this whole time. You know what I mean? Like you guys
Nope.
had your fun. In fact, I'm gonna do a screen share and just pop over here to actually, oops, well, I'm gonna do a screen share. I actually have a before I do, let me just close this out. I actually have Alicia's before and after up. So I won't narc her out just yet, but there we go. Okay. So cool. So here we go. I'm gonna do a screen share. So this is your weigh-in, right? So this is just the last month, I believe, 2 months. So it's not been a straight shot, right? But if we punch it back out to when we started, I mean, you really see how all the little bumps in the road kind of smooth out in time. But I mean, look at 6 months. We had week 1 food fest. You went from 235 back up to 240. You gained 5 pounds in 2 days. So that would have been enough for normal people to just be like, fuck it. Like, I can't do this. It's not like, you know what? Like I tried and I lost all my progress for the last 2 weeks. I'm over it. Most
Yeah.
people do that. But yet 3 days later, you were back to a new all-time low. And that happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So basically once a month you had a 5-pound setback, right? But through pattern recognition, through exposure therapy, you just kept getting back on the wagon. That's what I love about working with you and Alicia, is that you guys just get back on the wagon the next day, and then immediately within a few days, you're at a new all-time low, right? 212 on the 22nd of March down to 204 on the 27th of March, right?
Yeah.
Like, what, 8 pounds in a week because it was just water weight you were carrying around, but people don't realize that distinction,
I mean, that's what's good about these meetings with you, dude, is like, before you're like trying to lose weight and then, your weight goes up, it's like mad discouraging. And so then maybe not saying like, oh, that's it, you're just going to dive into some ice cream, but it's not like I'm going to make better choices after I saw my weight go up after a bunch of hard work. Like who wants to eat nothing and gain weight?
Nobody. The answer is nobody. Now I do want to just show you off a little bit here. So this is what 46 pounds looks like, folks. And I think that like, it's just one of those lessons of just, I mean, to me, 45 pounds is astonishing, right? But I think people who are looking down the barrel of needing to lose 50, 75, 100 pounds, it just gets too daunting, right? And they're just like, well, if I can't lose 100, then what's the point of even starting? And it's like, because like you are a different person, like inside and out, right? Like you've just added 10 years to your life. You know what I mean? Like, and with fitness, and I believe in life in general, like not worrying about the end result, but just being process oriented and just getting started is one of the biggest qualities a human being can have. And I mean, here we are, like you said, 6 months, blink of an eye. And I mean, you're like a completely different person, right? And,
Yeah.
hey, listen, like, was it a walk in the park? Oh, there's Alicia. I keep knocking Alicia out on this call. Sorry. Well, by the way, just so everybody's noticing, this is Alicia. This is Ken's partner. She just finished as well, and she did amazing. They both just really did amazing. But hey, it just goes to show, like, you don't have to be perfect, right? You had your fun. You did vacations and dinners, and you had food festivals, and you got drunk a few times, and you had some fun. And we just showed up for yourself every day and did what you had to do. And now, the results speak themselves, my friend. So, all right, Ken, listen, man, really proud of you. Great work. I'm going to just go ahead and cancel. I'm going to end the recording now, and then you and I will keep chatting a little bit afterwards.